Good day guys, my name is Lord Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collective review. As you all know, I am Lord Tomo and we have the good old blue steel Sonic the Hedgehog hiding other than Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, this one I have pretty much limited information regarding this, and simply because when I first got this, and obviously the other iteration of this, it was more or less kind of a mystery within itself. I've never really seen this. Now, before I get into obviously the jits and jats of what this basically is, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm just going to call it Retro Sonic the Hedgehog Money Bank. I don't know where it's from, so if anybody's checking out this video for the first time, hit me up, let me know. I'll probably make an update review or discussion about this item, because I'm really limited as to what this is. Well, I know what it is, but as to its location and just the general jits jats of this. Now, as a kid growing up, of course, I basically had obviously friends. Unless you're a loner, you don't have friends, but that's besides the point. I also had friends, and this was actually given as a birthday gift from somebody else to that friend for his birthday. Now, obviously, my friend at the time, he knew I dig Sonic the Hedgehog, so I think a couple of months after that, for my birthday, he just pretty much passed that gift on to me, simply because it's not that he didn't like Sonic, it's just he was not interested in Sonic, he was into Final Fantasy, so he just gave me this as a gift, and I obviously adored it ever since. Now, as far as I'm aware, there are two iterations. There's obviously this one, Sonic the Hedgehog, and there's also a Knuckles the Kidney one. I have them both. I will review them in consecutive weeks, or depending my interest at the time. Now, both the Sonic one and Knuckles one that I both possess didn't come in a box or bag or anything of that nature, so I'm not entirely sure if this actually came in a box or if this came in a packaging or of any sorts, so I can't really speak much of that. I would assume that it may be. I just don't know, to be honest. The person that initially bought this for my friend, I did generally have a small discussion, and I asked him whether or not where he actually saw this item, and he pretty much told me that he picked that up at a local Asian store. So I'm guessing, once again, I can't be, I'm not too sure if it's a yes or no, but I'm guessing this is possibly a bootleg maybe. Even if it's a bootleg or not, it is extremely adorable, but like I said, I can't confirm whether or not this is legit or not. I'm going to assume, just for argumental sakes, that it may be a bootleg, but I'm on the hopes that it's not. Either way, regardless if it is or it isn't, it's still an awesome piece, and let's go into the depths. So that's a little history for those of you who are more or less wondering where I purchased this or where I got this. So let's take a closer look, because this is obviously a pretty adorable item. As you can see, this is extremely adorable, extremely cute. A retro Sonic the Hedgehog money bank. Now, unlike the more or less classic figurines or the more retro figurines, they never necessarily had that little little bit in the middle. They always insinuated that in a way his both eyes are kind of unified into one, which I guess, me personally, I found that as an awesome little thing. But to be in the same way, this actually kind of gives it a more realistic feel, kind of like, oh well, he actually does have two eyes, but inadvertently there's just a piece in the middle which kind of opens up ish in a way. Sonic has always been interesting. Actually, any character in the Sonic universe has always been interested in the whole eye concept. Unless it's either left eye, right eye, most of them kind of had the insinuation that he had like a split in the middle. The only real one that probably didn't would be Tails, but that depends. But yeah, Sonic, obviously in this instance, you just kind of have like little divider. Adds a little more flavor to the character. Adorable. You have his 2 point ears, little indent inside. I'm not too sure, you can see. Kind of gives it the more, obviously it's a 3D item, but it gives them more that vibrant sort of aspect to it in terms of its ears. Adorable with little cheeks, and he's got his nice smirk. Totally digging that. Obviously you see his tails. You obviously see his nose there pointing out. It gives it the overall kind of chibi effect to it, kind of like a miniaturized Sonic effect to it, which is awesome. And you just have his little arms, folded in, crossed arms, which is extremely adorable, very reminiscent of the retro Sonic the Hedgehog. And you have obviously the classic Sonic the Hedgehog shoes. Obviously in this part you don't actually have his belt buckle coloured in and all that. That's alright, I'm not really complaining. It's just a small nitpick, and you have obviously the little socks. Extremely miniaturized, extremely small. At the back you just have obviously his spikes. This is personally one of the things that I dig about this statue, this money bank. I'm obviously opposed to everything else, but this is one of the major wow factors. You have his spikes, which is very broad down. You have 2 spikes at the bottom, and you have his tail, and you have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little spikes there. Pretty awesome. You can obviously see the little details in that, and little knob at the top, and that really awesome, very extremely nice mold. At the very bottom, being a money back, you can obviously see at the very bottom, it doesn't actually have anything that says Sega or anything. If at all, it just has a little writing up there. I'm not too sure if you will be seeing it. It just says open and close. Pretty much you just spin around. Congratulations, you open it up. Now I'm guessing this is something that was released back in the day. We had back in the day, just to give a little history, here in Australia, we had like 1 cent, 2 cents were really small. So I'm guessing you could fit it in and it could obviously go through. Nowadays, our cents and dollars and whatnot are pretty big in comparison to what it was back then. So the holes there weren't necessarily fit, especially not for 50 cents. Then again, at the very top, you won't be able to fit anything bigger than probably $1. Let's actually try that out. Okay, not even $1. $2. Okay, you can fit $2 in. And I don't have 5 cents, so let's try 10 cents. Okay, you can't even put 10 cents in. You can put $2, anything the size of $2, which is roughly Australian $2, would fit in perfectly, as you can probably see at the top. So that's a little interesting fact about Australia, mate. So that's the actual figurine itself, and just to close it up, there's the actual lid. Pretty big, pretty thick. You just close it up in the lid, and obviously that's the top. Now it does have a little form of articulation, if that, and that's just his head. You can either switch it to the, it's a very tight fit, but you can either switch it to the right or to the left. You can't do a whole much, but you can do a bit, you know, like obviously in the middle, because that's obviously awesome. Now overall, the actual mold of this Money Bank Retro Sonic, awesome, loving it, digging it, and especially nice to have, you know, merchandise out there that actually has the true definition, or kind of a defining factor of both left and right eye, which is awesome. Which you can see, just the eyes is just black with a little white inside. I don't know. A part of me finds it weird in terms of the retro Sonic stuff, but in the same part, it's actually quite harmonious in terms of how the actual paint app looks. I honestly don't find anything bad on it. It's one of these items where I just have it on display. A mate of mine would just pick it up, mess around with it, and put it back around. It's definitely just, you know, it's pretty sturdy. It's hard plastic. I really have no issues with this whatsoever. It's definitely a nice piece. Now, in terms of overall price, I got this for free. Obviously, it was a gift given to me, so I can't say how much. I did see this once being sold for like, I think $80 once upon a time, years ago. As to what it is now, not 100% sure. Haven't seen it. Though that being said, I do see more Sonic pop up than I do see Knuckles. Knuckles I've never seen on Amazon, eBay, or anything like that. For the Knuckles one, when I picked that up, I picked it up at a local store, which was awesome. But with the Sonic ones, I see more Sonic pop up than I do see Knuckles, which I will review. So I guess Sonic is more, I guess this was more mass produced than the other sub characters. Not 100% sure. There's really not 100% sure in this review, as you can probably tell. But this is very limited. So I guess this falls back to, you know, really depends on the collector. In terms of rarity, I'm probably, I can't really put an exact amount, to be honest. It's really hard. It's just, I don't know too much about this. And it's quite disappointing, to tell you the truth, because I had tried to look into information this as best I can. But, you know, it's just, it is limited. I'm trying to make these reviews as more front personal base, as in, where did you get yours, how much it was, etc, etc. So guys, if you have any information on this, drop me a comment, let me know, and if there's sufficient enough for anything, I'll probably do an updated review, name drop you. If you have a channel, I'll probably link you as well. You know, it's always good to have that sort of, you know, community for the better of the word. So look, for now I'm probably going to maybe go 6 stars, 6.5 stars out of 10 in terms of rarity. I just, like I said, that's just my ballpark figure. You know, with the information I do have. Is it worth it? If you ever see this, pick it up. You know, definitely. I wouldn't go too crazy in the price, to be honest. Like I said, it's if it's a bootleg, it's a rare bootleg. If it's not a bootleg, it's pretty awesome nonetheless. But guys, let me know what your thoughts on this, what's your take on this. You know, if you know how much it roughly costs nowadays, if you know anything about this, just drop me a comment or leave me a message anytime. Alright guys, thank you so much for checking out this review, and until next week, speed on and peace out guys.